You're listening to the 2026 Royal Norfolk Show Innovation Hub podcasts. Thank you very much for listening. Right now we're joined with Ben Garrod, a Professor of Evolutionary Biology and Science Engagement at the University of East Anglia. Would you mind introducing yourself and just telling us a bit about your journey first?
Absolutely. So I'm Ben. I'm, as you said, Professor of Evolutionary Biology and Science Engagement. I'm also Associate Pro-Vice Chancellor for Civic at the UEA and an avid Norfolk boy. So coming together with all this different experience and different people, different ideas is what the Royal Norfolk Show is.
Norfolk might not be the first place people think of for cutting-edge science. What do you think they're missing?
I think they're missing timescale. So had we gone back 20, 25 years, maybe even 5 or 10 years, yeah, we were at best nothing special, realistically probably on par with other places. But actually having this sense of being on the edge of the UK has almost allowed us to go undetected in many ways. And rather than just catching up to others, we are now driving innovation across the UK. So we have the NRP, so the Norwich Research Park, with world-leading facilities such as the John Innes Centre, the Quadrum, the Earlham, right through to obviously research being done independently at the University of East Anglia.
What unique strengths do you think the region offers in an area like agri-tech and environmental science?
So we have this really lovely, I almost want to say dichotomy, this lovely sort of weird relationship between a really rural community and a really rural environment physically, with a really long heritage of agricultural policy and people living off the land, working on the land, with this cutting-edge innovation hub here. And putting the two together allows this beautiful sort of symbiotic relationship between cutting-edge science and traditional farming. We have people who know the land better than anything, and we have academics who are using cutting-edge technology, sequencing the crops we eat, the microbiome of your gut, right through to the animals that we might use in various ways to understand that relationship. So to have that really rural community and those really agricultural habitats alongside world-leading STEM, so science, technology, engineering, maths and medicine, is that beautiful sort of holistic, symbiotic, synergistic, all the fancy words, relationship that brings it all together.
And how does the UEA contribute to innovation ecosystems locally and nationally?
I think UEA is really beautifully placed because a huge amount of our students and staff are, I say locally sourced, it almost sounds like a product, but these are people who are homegrown. And as I said earlier, I am absolutely Norfolk through and through.
Me too.
Which is great. And it's easy to see that as well. We haven't travelled very far, but actually we're staying in our area and we're using that natural and local understanding, combining that with world-class research. And of course, we have people from all around the world feeding into the research here, but that local theme, whether you're from here or not, you are part of this community, you're part of this environment. This isn't just research benefiting communities the other side of the world that we won't see, or products that we might never be involved with. This is what affects my mum and dad, or your granny and granddad, or your brother and sister, or you, or me. And I think that's that local feel on an international platform makes a difference for us.
And from your perspective, what are the most urgent environmental challenges facing regions like Norfolk right now?
It's very easy, again, to think that little old Norfolk is shut away from everywhere else, but we are driving policy change around the world, not just in Norfolk, not just in East Anglia, not just the UK. We are global policymakers, and the research that our students, that our academics are conducting and involved with can make a difference. And that's what's important, that we talk about things like land use and fertiliser use and coastal erosion. These are all things that are impacting people in Norfolk on a day-to-day basis. They can only be changed with investment with our students, with our academics, with the research, and understanding that it fits into a bigger global policy.
So you've worked everywhere, from Uganda to Southeast Asia. How have the experiences shaped your approach to science in the UK?
So I have been lucky enough to work from the Arctic to the Caribbean, from deserts to jungles, and I'm so privileged. I really am to have been able to do these things. And actually, I spend a lot of time in sub-Saharan Africa still. I think it's really important to be able to bring the experiences back as an individual, but as a scientist in more general terms, to learn what we can from other communities, other habitats. I think traditionally it's very easy to go, we will take what we do in the West or the global North to these, we would traditionally say, developing communities, or the third world communities, both of which are terms we shouldn't really be using anymore. Because it creates this sense of us and them, or prioritized or privileged or not. But actually, it's very easy to overlook the lessons that we can learn from traditional communities and countries that we've traditionally thought we were teaching them. It's a two-way dialogue, and I think that's really important. So I've worked with local communities who artisanally fish at the edge of Madagascan reefs, right through to quite large projects in Southeast Asia. There's always something to learn, and it's not an arrogant thing that we have stuff to teach them, in inverted commas. It's something that it's a dialogue. Going back to this idea that we're all part of this wonderful interconnected community, if we only think that we're teaching others, we never have the opportunity to learn.
Recently, I've seen that you spoke at the Marine Science and Technology Sector Council conference on unlocking the seabed. What drew you to that conversation around offshore innovation and marine science?
I think it's very easy to be polarised and to see things as black or white, or right or wrong, or us and them. And that's the way politics has gone. But science can never allow itself to be drawn into that who's right, who's wrong, is it us, is it them. It turns into almost some sort of Hunger Games gladiatorial perspective where no one's ever going to be happy because there'll always be winners and losers. And science isn't, or shouldn't be like that. So I think it's very easy traditionally to look at something going, oh, the energy sector, we don't belong there, we shouldn't be there, we should be opposing that. But you'll never make the changes that we want to make as scientists, as conservationists, if we work against or in opposition to these huge corporations, these massive companies, these incredibly wealthy stakeholders.
Just one final question. For businesses, investors and policymakers that are listening today, what's the one action they should take next to engage with Norfolk's innovation landscape?
Have the conversations, have the joined up conversations that might not initially make sense. So if you are siloed, if you are pigeonholed into your area to the point you are not engaging with or open to conversations with others, you're not unlocking your potential, and you're not unlocking the potential of others around you. So if you are in one very specific sector, find someone else, or find a different group from the opposite side of the tracks there, or find someone who might be able to offer you a different perspective, and have those conversations with academics, with research groups, with school kids even, to start to understand where the conversation might go. Because the moment we start bringing in new ideas, uncomfortable ideas, difficult conversations, then first of all we can see any of these pictures more holistically. For realistically, there's nothing that's right or wrong. There's nothing that's easy or complex. I mean, there's a huge amount of grey area in any of these things. But by having these uncomfortable conversations, by having these unexpected conversations, will either increase your scope or will give you a more holistic picture. We are right on the doorstep. This idea that there's an ivory tower of academia in the centre of Norfolk is something that I would love to be able to help break down. We are there as part of the community. We're not like the Tower of Mordor that shines over the rest of Norfolk with this glaring eye. We're meant to be a beacon, an opportunity for a hub where people come in and leave and aspire to become involved and have a conversation, have a say. It's not there as us and them. It's there to help improve and benefit the lives of all of us. Not all of you or all of them, it's all of us. And I think having those joined up conversations is the one thing that companies, individuals and groups can start doing tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us today and sharing your insights and the future of Norfolk's research ecosystem. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. To find out more about topics being discussed here, email uea.innovation@uea.ac.uk. Thank you for listening.